Hi and welcome to Best in Tesla. The old OEMs have underestimated the demand for EVs and are now forced to raise their EV production. But they still have an Osborne effect to watch out for, not revealing too good of an EV that will kill the sales of their ICE version, or make a too boring EV that will make their EV sales too low. Yes, the old OEMs have the world's toughest balance act to make in the next 5 years to not kill their business one way or the other. But Tesla is also facing a big demand problem. They cannot keep up. And that's before the EV tax credit in the US and before the vehicle with the most pre-orders in history starts production. Yep, demand for EVs are far greater than many thought they would be at this point in time, forcing the old OEMs to ramp up EV production. Let's take a look at all of these demand problems the automakers are facing, and let's dive right in. So, demand for Tesla's vehicles is off the charts. Some of their models, like the Model 3 rear-wheel drive, are sold out until June 2022 in the US. So is the Model Y and Model S long range. And the Model X long range and Plaid is sold out until August or November next year. And remember, Tesla has raised their prices more than $7,500 this year so far, and some models even $10,000. So Tesla is trying to slow down the demand by increasing their prices. Also because Tesla knows they can't keep up right now, but in the US they will soon get the EV tax credit, and that will give a $7,500 discount for customers on a Tesla model below $80,000. But that will just increase the demand even further. So I don't think it is just supply chain issues that are making Tesla raise their prices. They have to, or else the demand is simply going to explode when the EV tax credit comes along, and the waiting time for Tesla could become too long. Yes, the EV tax credit has been made to suit GM, and they will benefit from it, and they really need it because their EVs, like the Hummer, are just off the charts when it comes to the price. So they need it, but Tesla really doesn't. They have no problem selling every single car they make, even without the tax credit. So the tax credit is kind of becoming a problem for Tesla rather than a helping hand, forcing them to raise their prices. And one electric vehicle that has the most demand of all, actually the most demand the world has ever seen for any vehicle in history, is the Cybertruck. If you go on the Cybertruck Owners Club's website, there is a reservation tracker you can follow, and here we can see that the pre-orders should be well over 1.2 million Cybertruck reservations and counting. And the reservation tracker says expected delivery by March 2025. That is nuts, but actually I think this is even too optimistic, because even though many may drop the reservations again and not all pre-orders will be turned into deliveries, I think when these crazy trucks starts rolling down the streets, Tesla will get even more reservations. So they might lose some of the original reservation holders, but much more will come and replace them. Remember, we are talking about a 4 to 5 years worth of reservations, so it'll take a long time to get through them and a long time for more reservations to come. So let's just say they will have 1.26 million reservations to go through. But even if we put the biggest number, we have heard Elon say they will be able to produce 300,000 per year in every year, even in 2022, which of course will not happen. But even with this overly optimistic number, by the end of 2025, we will still not be through the pre-orders. And if they get like 100,000 Cybertrucks out in 2022. I would be very impressed with the delays we have seen in the 4680 cells and so on. So if Tesla still has about 1.1 million pre-orders after 2022, and if they can produce about 300,000 of them per year from that point going forward, the last reservation holder will not get their Cybertruck before the end of 2026. So let's hope Elon's few words on Battery Day about the Cybertruck comes true when he said they expect to be able to produce 300,000 per year or maybe more. Because the Cybertruck should be one of Tesla's fastest cars to produce. Since it will also have the big gigacasting front and rear end, that should be what the huge 8,000-ton casting machine is for, but the Cybertruck will not get any paint, which should save Tesla a lot of time. So hopefully Tesla can speed up the production of the Cybertruck, because the demand for this truck is like nothing the world has ever seen before. In comparison, the Ford F-150 Lightning has about 200,000 pre-orders now, and will of course continue to grow, but probably not get to this high, as it only took the Cybertruck a couple of days to get over 200,000 pre-orders. Or let's take one of the most pre-ordered car in history before the Cybertruck. That was the Tesla Model 3. That received around 518,000 pre-orders in total from reveal to start of deliveries. And that did not only become the best-selling EV in history, but has become one of the best-selling cars in many markets. And the Cybertruck have twice this pre-orders. So the Cybertruck has an unreal demand that Tesla will have a very hard time meeting. But I do understand why. As polarizing as the looks of the trucks might be, it doesn't matter. There is no denying the specs of this truck. This is the best electric vehicle money can buy right now. You will get 500 plus miles of range, a 0 to 60 in just 2.9 seconds. That is more range and quicker than the Tesla Model S long range. But the Cybertruck cost $25,000 less. And it's not just the range and acceleration that is impressive with this truck. It will no doubt be able to charge with at least 350 kilowatts. I believe much faster, as Elon didn't want to say how fast at the reveal, and he did say at the semi-truck reveal that Tesla would build a pickup truck version of the semi-truck, and we know that bad boy will be able to charge 400 miles of range in 30 minutes with a very, very big battery, so crazy quick charging speeds that we can also expect from the Cybertruck. And the Cybertruck can also tow up to 14,000 pounds. You can plug in electric tools or any electric product. It has a huge 6.5 feet truck bed that can carry up to 4,000 pounds of cargo with over 2,800 liters of cargo space, or 100 cubic feet. With a roof you can close with a push of a button, and then it is locked. It is made of stainless steel and doesn't dent or rust, and the battery will last for at least 2 million miles. So this could be the only electric car you have to buy for the rest of your life, because this will probably outlast you, even if this is your first car you ever buy. And we learned that it might be able to grab, walk and tank turn, because it will be able to steer the back wheel as well. It will get over-the-air updates and have great software, and will be able to drive itself with Tesla's full self-driving package if you add on another $10,000 or just subscribe to it. You can't get any other truck, car, whatever on the planet that can do all of this, and for just $70,000. To compare, the F-150 Lightning has shown Ford how big the demand is for their electric pickup truck. And it will only tow 10,000 pounds, can only carry 2,000 pounds, only have up to estimated 300 miles of range. It only have a 5.5 foot bed and can't be locked. It has half the cargo space, 52 cubic feet or 1,400 liters, and it will dent and it will rust. It have the same software as the Mark E that still can't do over-the-air update, and that we already have seen customers complain about. And with these specs, it will cost above $90,000. So you will get so much less of everything than the Cybertruck, but pay $20,000 more. Ford has nothing that can compete with Cybertruck on any of these specs, and for that price, nothing. And no one has. So I think this is the reason why Tesla has taken the price and the specifications down from their website for the Cybertruck. It's because the demand is simply too Great. The Cybertruck will start production next year, but is already sold out until the end of 2026, and even with the production of 300,000 cars per year. That is almost too much, right? This is usually what OEMs are trying to control with the price. They lower the price if demand is not big enough, and they raise the price if demand gets too high, because they still want the customer to have a great experience going into their dealership or showroom, and if they want to buy the car, they can get it within a reasonable time frame. But 5 years waiting list is not a reasonable time frame. The Cybertruck is almost too successful for its own good. I don't think Tesla expected this kind of demand for this truck. Like Elon said, if nobody wants our crazy looking truck, we'll just make a normal one. But boy, did people want this crazy looking truck like nothing else before it. And the pickup truck market in the US is Ford's market, right? And Tesla is about to come out with the most pre-ordered product in history in Ford's and GM's market, and they will not be able to keep up in production with Tesla by any means. Ford doubled their target of 80,000 Lightnings in 2024 to 160,000 in 2024. But Tesla will be able to produce about 300,000 at that point. Tesla's 2 factories in the US will be able to produce as many cars as Ford sells per year globally, about 4 million. No wonder Ford is waking up and seeing they can't drag their feet and hopefully slow down the transition to EVs. It will happen with or without them. And Ford is getting that now and is now starting to ramp up EV production faster. If this is fast enough, well, time will tell. I kind of doubt it, because as any of the old automakers, they are walking on the edge of a sword when it comes to the transition to EV. It is going to be a very difficult balance act, because right now EVs are not a good business for the old OEMs, but their business that is actually making the money, the ICE cars, demand is falling off a cliff, and Ford has kind of made it even harder for themselves, because they have actually come out with a great electric car. So Ford will no doubt see the Osborne effect play out. I actually think this is why someone like Volkswagen's electric cars are so boring as they are, not with the missing smart tech, but with the acceleration. Their IDs are among the slowest EVs on the market. Why is that? Because we know the Volkswagen Group can make performance electric cars like the Porsche Taycan or the Audi e-tron GT RS, so why make a Volkswagen branded EV that does 0 to 60 in only 7 or 9.5 seconds? Also because the EVs that Tesla has forced Volkswagen to price the IDs lower than Tesla's cars, because they also have less performance. So who in their rightful mind would then want to buy, let's say, the Golf GTI, for example, that costs more than both the Model 3 or the Model Y, but can only do a 0 to 100 kilometers in 5.6 seconds. So it gets beaten by the Model 3 in performance and sticker price. So no wonder the Model 3 is doing so great. But if Volkswagen made the ID3 being able to do a 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in just under 5 seconds, who would then buy their much more expensive GTI ICE model, right? No one. Polluting, more expensive, and slower, and the GTI is their performance car. So if they can no longer beat their own electric car, well, Volkswagen would no longer be able to charge that much for their outdated, underperforming products. So I think Volkswagen is doing this because they don't want the Osborne effect to kill their ICE sales faster than it already is. But this is just making the IDs seem very boring compared to the Tesla Model 3 or the Ford Mach-E or the Ioniq 5 or any of the good Chinese EVs that are out there. And probably why Volkswagen's IDs are doing so poorly in China and the US. It is a boring car compared to what else is out there. So they might have been too afraid of the Osborne effect for the ICE cars, so they are hurting their EV sales now. And that is, after all, the future of the company. where someone like Ford might have done the opposite. They knew they had to make something that could get close to the Tesla Model 3 or the Model Y when it comes to specs and price to be able to challenge Tesla in the US and not look like a joke. But by doing this might have a big Osborne effect on their future ICE car sales. As I made a whole video about when they revealed the F-150 Lightning, that this might be a big problem for Ford because they have just made the best F-150 Ford has ever done. Even Ford said that about the F-150 Lightning. But it is not like the F-150 Lightning is a much more expensive car than the F-150 ICE version. But you will save a lot of money on maintenance and gas, so overall you'll get a cheaper truck that outperforms the old ICE version. If you have a little sense as a pickup truck buyer, you will of course want the F-150 Lightning, not the old, obsolete, polluting, more expensive, less performing ICE car. But the Lightning is not out yet and won't be before mid-2022, and the original idea was to only produce about 7,500 of these in 2022. But they doubled that because the big demand they saw, and just last week they doubled their target once again, so they now have a plan for about 30,000 F-150 Lightning in 2022 and 600,000 EVs in total in 2023. I cannot believe that Ford really thought the original plan for production of 150,000 EVs in 2023 was good enough. I think they were hoping they somehow could control the pace of the switch to EVs because the majority still want ICE cars.
The losses on the electric vehicles can be recouped on the internal combustion ones, which are the ones that 95% of Americans still want.
No, the majority only have access to ICE cars. EVs are still only about a couple of % of the car market in the US, but I think Ford start to see that Tesla was not kidding around. Like Jim Farley said himself, they have been ignoring Tesla. But now it's just become too painfully obvious that Tesla would produce close to 1 million cars in 2021, which Ford probably thought they would never be able to do. But at the same time as this becomes obvious, Tesla's Texas factory is almost done and will become the biggest car plant in the world. And Tesla will in the US have 2 car factories that will be able to produce as many cars as Ford sells globally. I think Ford just took their first serious look at Tesla this year, as they just keep outperforming everyone's expectation, and what they saw scared them. At the same time, I bet they started to see the demand for their F-150 ICE pickup trucks going down because people are waiting for the electric version. The F-150 series is actually down about 8% year over year, even compared to the COVID year of 2020. So they will not sell many ICE version and by design not sell many EVs, but that would look really bad for Ford if that should happen. No ICE sales and no EV sales. So they are forced to ramp up their EV production now, as we have been screaming about for years. But Ford just realized it now, here in 2021. As I said, by the end of 2021 everyone will get it, and it seems like Ford just got it. But is it too late? Well, only time will tell. But demand is forcing Tesla to raise their prices, to keep demand low so they have a chance to keep up. They don't have to worry about the Osborne effect of the Cybertruck because Tesla doesn't have an ICE pickup truck. Ford has also trouble producing enough EVs to meet demand because they underestimated the demand for EVs and chose not to produce a lot of EVs, because they have the batteries, as we know. So that has forced Ford to increase their EV production now. So people can say what they want, but not even a big boy like Ford can ignore or slow down the EV revolution. The demand will force this on them. Lack of demand for their ICE vehicles and the rise of demand of the EVs will both force the old OEMs to ramp up production of EVs or go out of business. The only question left is, are they too late, and can someone like Ford become agile enough, fast enough to ramp up production fast enough to survive this demand cliff and still be standing on the other side when production finally meets the demand? I doubt it. I think they have waited too long. But time will tell if they survive, and if they do, how big will they end up being. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.